Okie dokie, let's get this going. Test review, Unit 13. So, what are we going to do? We're going to work with some of those things that you need to work with on whatever. In other words, make sure you have this and this added to your formula sheet. They will be up again later in case you forgot to pause and you don't feel like rewinding because it's too hard to rewind. But there you go. Okay, so first off, we're going to look at a pentagonal prism. So you have a prism that with the base shape of a pentagon. And this is one of the few times where I don't have it like on its side or something where the base shape is facing forward rather than this one is top and bottom. But either way, you got to find the perimeter, and the perimeter is just the number of sides times the side length. So 5 times 4.5, which would give you 22.5. Then you need to find the area of the base. And again, you would use the formula here on the regular polygon, half of the apothem times the perimeter, come back over here. And if you said half of the apothem, which is 3.1, times the perimeter, which was 22.5, you would get 34.9. Then, then you could get the lateral area and the surface area and the volume because you now have everything that you would need. Lateral area is just the perimeter times the height of the prism. So 22.5 times 5. The surface area is the lateral area plus twice the base. So again, 112.5 plus 2 times 34.9 to get whatever answer you get. And then the volume is the area of the base times the height, which will give you that 174.5. And again, all those are just following the formulas that are available that you should have on your formula sheet. Number 2 is a triangular prism. Now I need to get the perimeter, so that means I need all 3 sides of the triangle. To get that first side, I recognize that that's a right triangle, so I could do a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And make sure, again, you take the square root there. And when you do that, you would get that c is equal to 10. So I could say 8 plus 6 plus 10 to get 24. And then for the area, it would be half of the base of the triangle times the height of the triangle, which would also equal 24. And then the lateral area is the perimeter times the height of the prism. The surface area is the lateral area plus twice the base. So, and again, both of those are 24, so it kind of made that easier. And then the volume is the area times the height. And again, just remember that on Pythagorean theorem, you always got to take a square root. That's how I got that 10. So when I said 8 squared plus 6 squared, I took the square root of that. Let's look at number 3. Here we have a hexagonal pyramid. Okay, so again, perimeter, side length is 6 times 6.9. I would also have to tell you that the apothem was 6, which I forgot to do. But there you go. The apothem was 6. So you'd have to do for the area, again, half of the apothem times the perimeter. And then I can do the lateral area and surface area. Just keep in mind this one is half of the perimeter times the slant height. And then the surface area is the slant height plus the area of the base. So I could add these two together and then get that answer. And then the volume is 1/3 the area of the base times the height. And again, I should say capital H here. So I'm going to let that play out. I could say that's capital H. So we're now trying to make sure that we understand the height of a prism versus the height of maybe the base shape. Okay, cylinders are pretty easy because all you need is radius and the height. So the radius here is 4 because 8 divided by 2 is 4. Then I could say pi r squared, which would give me 50.3 for the area of the base. And then I could say 2 pi r h. And again, it's just simple plug into the numbers. So I'm just letting this play out so you can see how those numbers plug in. And I'm just following the formulas that are on the formula sheet. So I can easily get these numbers, put them into the calculator, and press enter, and I have an answer. And then again, if you don't put the inches cubed, inches squared, I'm not going to count off, but I mean, I would prefer if you did that. So that's it for that one. A cone is similar. The only difference is that a cone, you might have to make sure that you still, like, the formula is slightly different. Like for a cone, it's pi r l. And so for the lateral area, for the surface area, is that lateral area plus the area of the base. So the pi r l plus pi r squared. And then the volume is the 1/3 pi r squared times the height. So 1/3 of pi times the 7.5 squared times the 15. So notice that the lateral and surface area use slant height, whereas the volume used the regular height. Okay, so those should be fairly easy. Nothing too difficult about those. You can kind of see how those problems work. Okay, number 6 and number 7 is like talking about spheres, and number 8. If you have a diameter, just remember divide by 2 to get the radius, and then you apply the formulas, which would be 4 pi r squared, and then 4/3 pi r cubed. Those should be fairly easy. Yes, you might get some crazy numbers, but that's okay. Now keep in mind that number 7 is a hemisphere. So I divided by 2, but at the same time, the hemisphere is half. Well, hold up. Let's pause that right there. A hemisphere is half the 4 pi r squared plus pi r squared, and the volume is half of the 4/3 pi r cubed. Okay, so here, when I do that, that's where I'm going to get that 21,075.2 and the 224,460 by following the formula of pi 1/2 4 pi r squared plus pi r squared. Okay, and this one is half of 4/3 pi r cubed. Okie dokie. You know what? Let's have your bonus word at this moment. So bonus word for today. Don't want to jinx it, so I'll just put here. Bonus word will just be red. We'll go with that. Anyways, next problem, number 8. This is one where they give you the circumference. Now you got to be careful with circumference. Circumference is equal to 2 pi r. So that means if I divide by 2 pi, I would get this, that the radius of a circumference is, if I divide the circumference by 2 pi, I would get the radius. So here, if I divide by 2 pi, somewhere I'm going to get that, then that would give me the radius. Once I have the radius, I can plug those numbers into for a sphere to get the surface area and the volume. So all I did here was plug those numbers into the proper formula, again, that we should have on the formula sheet. 9 and 10 deal with similarities. Similarities, again, notice here, I'm going to go side 1, side 2. I'm just going in order that they're mentioned. And then since I'm looking for volume, it's new over old cubed times the old volume to get the new volume. And if I gave you volumes, it's new over old again, so the second one over the first one, cube root times the height to get the new height. That's all that is. And fairly simple, right? Again, make sure you're using this little bit and pay attention to keywords. Keywords is what's going to help you solve those fairly easily. So, again, make sure you have the similarity. Make sure you have your formula sheet set up. If you have questions, keep in mind what's the difference between a large H and a small h. Over here, because somebody was a little confused, this is going to be a big H, this is going to be a big H. Okay, so you kind of see there, I don't know how much else you need on this. If you need to remind yourself, what does L stand for? L stands for slant height. Then make sure you add that into your formula sheet. Okay, and if you need an example, draw yourself an example and say, oh, there's the slant height. You know, whatever, however you need to do that. And kind of go from there. H, capital H is the height of the prism, whereas little h is the height of the base. So, you know, keep those in mind. Let's see, what else? What else? You know what? I think that's it, guys. Short and sweet. I went through everything, kept it pretty simple. You should be able to do this hopefully fairly well. I can only hope so. Thank you so much for your time. Make sure, again, you have your formula sheets because I will give you points for that. Hopefully you got the bonus word, and we'll see what we can do from there. Thank you so much for your time. Y'all take care.